morning, guys, and welcome back to our channel. I'm your host, Amr Samaha, and today we'll be discussing client selection. It's a very interesting process and something that a lot of people don't really get a chance to think about. And I think it's one of the biggest crux that people could get caught up in. I can't speak enough to what client selection is like. We're about to discuss that today, so stay tuned. So diving further into client mentality and how important it is to our field of design and real estate development. Whether you're a designer or a real estate developer, it's really important to understand the mindset of the person using your product at the end of the day, and that's usually your client. Whether it be yourself, even as a developer, it's important to see who's going to be buying the product from you at the end of the day. So your client is ultimately your end buyer. So to that end, it's really important to think about three major things that every client is probably thinking. One of the first things is their sense of self. Whether we like it or not, as humans, we're looking to be able to express ourselves. We're constantly looking for new ways to be able to immortalize our understanding of the world as it surrounds us and bringing something out of our creative mind into this world. There's nothing that immortalizes one's presence as much as a building. Buildings have been around and have been used to immortalize people for the longest time throughout history. And throughout every culture, that's how it has been. And it will continue to be that way for many generations here on out. So to that end, there's obviously a variety of different clients and how they operate and what holds true to them. Some clients are more spiritually inclined and others are more driven by more worldly matters. So to that end, it's an extremely important stage in the process to understand what your client is looking for, and being able to have the early on understanding to be able to deliver to them something that really fits with their personality and with their understanding of the world as it surrounds them is extremely important. The next thing that we really need to think about is the client's fear or skepticism that they won't be able to achieve what they're looking for. This is probably one of the biggest things that any client is going to do in their life. It's probably the biggest project they're ever going to pay for, or one of the biggest projects that they're ever going to pay for. So to be able to consider that and really walk them through their fears and their skepticism in a field that, for the vast majority of people, they're very unaware of and not very well versed in, it's extremely important to take the time to be able to just walk them through every step of the process and what the expectations are on the deliverables and also the money matters of things. So when they're expected to be paying for certain fees and when they're expected to be delivering on certain deliverables. It's an extremely challenging process to be able to get the client to an understanding and a clarity of what their roles and responsibilities are in the entire project. And last and not least by any means is everyone's willingness and desire to cut a good deal. I think that more often than not, people hinder themselves by this understanding that they have to cut a good deal. And in all honesty, some people really take it to an extreme where cutting a good deal comes at the cost of producing a good product for them. And some people are very inclined to be able to cut a good deal. And in my personal experience, it's done more harm than good for the vast majority of my clients. I've mentioned earlier a story of one of our clients that trimmed the contract that was not a very large contract down to the bare bones, and it had cost them over 2 years of delays because they thought that they'd be able to do the job better than the professionals that should have been hired to take on the responsibility for delivering on a timely manner. So to that end, I think giving the understanding to the clients of what their cost-benefit analysis is one of the best ways to deal with cutting a good deal. I think savvy clients will be able to distinguish the difference between underpaying and not being able to deliver on the project because they've underfunded their project, and they'll be able to make the good choice of paying fairly for what needs to happen within a reasonable amount of time. Between those things, I think those are the biggest factors that people need to be looking for and walking their clients through. And those are the three things that I usually look for and try to walk my clients through to get a successful closing on any deal. Thank you guys for tuning in. It was a pleasure talking to you about client selection and what a project would look like start to end. These are just some of the tidbits that you'll see on this channel, so please do subscribe and hit that like button. We'll see you around next time.